For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't trying to link, no time to waste. For the record, for the record, for the record, for the record, for the record. Been a little too nice for y'all. Now I gotta up price for y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. A6 all the hate. I won't get a ball today. Got lost in the ball and A's. I'm flipping the bars, I'm flipping the on record, off record. I still count wins when they got it. On record, off record. I let them take advantage. I was wildin'. On record, off record deals. Tell them talk to Colin for the quote. On record, off record. I still want the act, not the ghost.
Hi guys, and you're probably wondering why I'm in an underground car park. Well, first of all, it is pouring with rain outside, and you know, a discussion with the crew and the cameraman was we get out of the rain and save all the camera gear because it doesn't agree with the electronics and water, don't mix. And also because we felt that the car we're going to show you today was probably going to spend a lot of its life in a place like this, because this is the new Range Rover Evoque and it's extremely popular with the ladies. But however, since I've had it, I've realised this is just like owning a puppy, because wherever you go in it, the ladies come and talk to you about this car. So in the words of a Cockney Sparrow, this is a bit of a bird puller. In the words of the girls, it's a bit of a stunning car to go shopping in. Let's check it out and give you the evaluation at the end. You get these snazzy poppy out handles, quite like them. You get these delicious day running lights. The new Range Rover Evoque is completely different to the old Range Rover Evoque, and it really is. The only slight thing that is the same are the door hinges, and you can't even see them anyway, but everything else is completely changed, and that includes these lights at the back, these LEDs which the SE comes with. I'll explain all that when we get in the front, what the difference is between the HSE, the SE and all the rest of the different, there's so many, it's ridiculous. But what you want to know is how big it is in the boot. Well, that hasn't changed that much. Let's take a look. With the SE model, you do get, if I can push the button, there we go, a power assisted tail lift. And inside here, you get some decent scuff guards, because being an Evoque and being the ladies' car of choice, this is going to take a lot of stuff going in and out of it. Push chairs, shopping. Speaking of shopping, what you do get, I love this, there's a little pop out there, and that's where you can hang your shopping bags. You've got one of them either side as well. Couple of little LED lights in here, so when it's dark like it is today, and I've already told you why we're in here today, there is a 12 volt adapter in the back there. Underneath here you have the panier, and that means you can put stuff in there and hide your fancy welly boots away in there. And you know the ones I mean, ladies, you know, with the little doggies on. I love those. This car doesn't come with a spare wheel, although it is an option if you want one. I would suggest if you're going to buy one of these, you do get one. Failing that though, if you are a lady, you're only going to be ringing one of the recovery services anyway, so maybe the puncture repair kit is the cheaper alternative. Anyway, let's jump in the back and see if it's comfortable for the passengers. Oh, before I go, check it out. Isn't that nice? It's over 6 foot high, so if it's pouring a rain and you're sitting watching the polo, you keep dry. I think it's pretty cool.
I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't trying to link, no time to waste. For the record, for the record, for the record.
In the back of the Evoque, now we've managed to get outside, even though it's still very overcast. It's very comfortable actually. It's quite a nice sort of velour-y type feel. In the centre you've got independent heating vents, which are quite good, and you can turn them on and off, but you can't adjust the temperature. That has to be done by the passenger or I mean the front seat passenger or the driver. But in the centre there are two heated rear seats, which I find that quite amazing. I wasn't expecting that. Below is a 12-volt adapter for your little charging bits and pieces. I would have liked to have seen a couple of USBs next to that as well, or just two USBs, because I think they're far more practical these days than the 12-volt adapters, because you have to buy yourself a 12-volt adapter, don't you? So sitting here in the back, well, yeah, it's definitely very comfortable. You've got little places to put your bits and pieces. There's some nice LED lights up here as well, and this massive great panoramic roof. In the centre you get a nice armrest and a double cup holder, which I've sort of come used to expecting that now. You don't get anywhere to put long items and things, which is quite unusual for Land Rover. But what you do, you see, you can lift the seat, you can push it like that, and that's where you do get the long ice seat. See, almost you were about. I knew someone was going to write in and go, "Oh, comment, yes, there is a split seat in the middle." So very handy that as well. And to be honest, you know, it can make quite a nice place to put your arm. Although I much prefer the actual proper armrest itself. Isofix points either side, and they have these little plastic thingies to cover them up, which I don't see the point in. You might as well just have Isofix points, to be honest. There is quite a small transmission tunnel in the middle. It's very low, and let me just check how nice it is to sit in the middle. Yeah, it's a little bit solid, but nonetheless, I could actually sit here for a while. Not for too long though. These seats are pretty good. What I have noticed on the sides, they tend to push you in slightly, so you tend to sit like that. I have no idea why. Bags of headroom. I mean, if you were, 6'2", Dutch person, you're going to be quite happy in one of these. Let's jump in the front and check out what Land Rover have actually put into the gizmo side of this car. We are up front in the Range Rover Evoque, and well, yes, it's stunningly comfortable. You're not going to expect anything less from the Range Rover. It may be the little sibling to the big ones, but it still has all those lovely attributes that you expect from a Range Rover, including this lovely Alcantara steering wheel, which is superbly comfortable. I do like that, albeit probably a little bit, if you're not the only person driving the car, I'd wear gloves actually, because yeah, just because I'm like that. The seats, yeah, not keen on these guys. If it was a car that I'd ordered myself, I think I'd have leather. There's nice leather on the dashboard and a lovely 10-inch screen here, but this is it's called the vegan-friendly option. It looks like something like my old granddad's suit. It's like been reconstituted. Anyway, it's it's an individual choice. Car itself, right, 31,000 basic price on the road. These cars have a great residual value as well. It's around about 63%, which makes leasing one of these very, very good value for money. You can get one for around £250 a month. This car is the SE. I'll explain the differences in a minute. The SE, this one in particular, with the R Dynamic pack, again I'll explain that in a minute, works out around about £45,000. This is the 240, so it's the SE 240, and the numbers represent the brake horsepower on the car. So this is the highest brake horsepower you will get in the diesel configuration, 240 brake. 0 to 60 on this car is around about 7.7 seconds, so it's no slouch, but it does have a bit of turbo lag. We'll talk about that when we get it out on the road. Now, let's talk about the models. So the basic, 31,000, we spoke about that. You then go to the S, there's then an SE. Even the S comes with the sat-nav, the aircon, but you don't get two screens, just to let you know. And I'll show you about the screens again in a minute. The SE, which is what we're sitting in at the moment, is sort of middle to high end range, because the HSE, which is the top of the range, you just get a couple of extra bits, like you get an Alcantara roof, you get a few bits and pieces that you wouldn't get in the SE. And then you get the R Dynamic pack, which are things like paddles, the side bits, what do they call them, on the sills, scuff guards when you get in and out of the car. I'd plumb for the SE, this one. It's sort of like that value for money-ish, not missing any bits out, but not going the full hog, if you get my drift. There are a few different configurations. There are 3 diesels and 3 petrol engines to choose from. I would suggest on either one to go for the highest brake horsepower, because that's the only difference. They are all 2 litre 4-cylinder turbocharged engines. That's both the diesel and the petrol. So to be honest, it's down to the brake horsepower, and that will make a lot of difference if you're doing a bit of off-roading in one of these cars. I doubt you're ever going to do it if you buy one of these, but it's still nice to have a little bit of guts under the bonnet, because when we're talking on the lowest diesel configuration you get is the D150, and that's 150 brake. You've got a D180, 180 brake, and then this one is the 240. On the petrol, you've got a 200 brake, a 250, and then there is an all singing and dancing 300 horsepower petrol engine, which that's a pretty good engine to have. Hopefully soon, Jaguar tell me, they might be putting a hybrid into the range as well. That could be really good. I'd be very interested to see what engine they marry up to that hybrid. I'm pretty sure they'll keep to the 2 litre. Believe it or not, this car, looking around, there are 33 kilograms of recycled material in here. Would you believe that? It's still my granddad's suit, but who cares? A good thing on the economy. Well, we're currently getting around about 29 to the gallon. I've only been driving it around town. I haven't really had it out on the road. Range Rover say 45-ish to the gallon. It's doable. I'd say more like about 39. I wouldn't be up in the 40s. So we say 39, maybe 45 on the 150 or the 180, depending, on the brake horsepower. Modes, well, there are a number of different modes. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and an auto mode. And basically, it all comes on the touchscreen down here. I'll do a little bit of camera work for you so you can see. There's like sand mode, there's mud road, mud terrain, then you've got grass, and then you've got out on the highway road, you've got an eco mode, and it's so simple to change. But to be honest, I stick it in the auto, and that just takes care of it because it senses everything. And the good thing about putting it in the auto mode, it will only run on 2-wheel drive, front wheel drive, until it senses you need 4-wheel drive, and then the computer automatically changes everything, and you suddenly get 4-wheel drive when and where you need it, which is good for fuel economy as well. That's what, at the end of the day, what we're after in one of these. There's a great little thing on here which I do want to explain quickly, and I do want to do a little bit of B-roll because it's so cool. These mirrors, so instead of a rear view mirror, well, let me explain. We're in a Range Rover Evoque. The back window is tiny and you don't get the best of views. So the previous one, there was no answer to that. Now there is an amazing answer. It's called a camera rear view mirror. So if you just flick up here like you would, when people come behind you and they've got their full beam on, it's that little flick button. This turns into a full rear camera. So you can see everything that's going on behind you. It's quite freaky. They've actually hidden the camera in the little shark fin aerial that's on the roof. And it is absolutely brilliant, although it does throw your brain a bit when you keep looking up when you're driving. So I tend not to have it on when I'm driving along. It's just a little bit too much. You've got a nice 10-inch screen here, dual screen. You only start getting the dual screen on the SE. So once you get to that level, you get 2 screens. It's beautifully set up. I'm loving both screens. They're both touch sensitive. A little bit laggy sometimes, but we can forgive it for that. Let's get this car out on the road. Anything I've missed we'll cover then. Loving it, guys. It is a proper nice car. And let's give our final evaluation. Catch you in a second. Right, so here we are out on the road in the Evoque, and it is a Range Rover without a shadow of a doubt. It's got that sort of Range Rover feel about it, and whatever that weather throws at you, this car is going to get you home or to your destination. And I think that's got a lot to do with the fact that maybe it's a little bit more viable to the female of the species, shall we say, than the males, because of that sort of respect that Range Rover have, that dependability. And I think, if I'm honest, I've got to say, I think that's what a lot of women look for in a man, is dependability. And this being a Range Rover is very dependable. That could be the reason. Or I could be completely talking out of my backside, which in most cases I normally am. Let's talk about this car before I dig myself a bigger grave than I already have done. You get a great field of vision on this car. It's a massive windshield, so you get to see everything. I obviously didn't see the bigger picture in that, what I just said. I do feel though you sit up a little bit high in this car, and it's not because some of you are going to say it's because of the way you had the seat. It's not. I like the seat in this position because I feel comfortable, but I do tend to feel that you sit on top of this car, so therefore you're looking down your nose. But there again, it is a Range Rover. My phone is almost like a warning from God. It's saying, Andy, stop, stop, stop. But I'm going to let it roll. Let's go with it. I love driving the car. It's got a fantastic gearbox on it. The gearbox is good, but the turbo is not as good as I'd like it to be. You get quite a bit of lag. Look, there, and it takes that couple of seconds just to kick in. And don't forget, this is the 240 brake. This is the top of the biggest brake horsepower you can get in the diesel variant of this car. So I think the petrol might be a little bit better, but I haven't driven one, so I can't comment on that. Great driver's visual aid system. I really love this. It's digital, it's right in your face. A little bit awkward to maneuver. On the left here you have a menu button. It's touch sensitive, so you can scroll around and you can do bits with it, but actually selecting your final thing that you want to select is a bit awkward because it tends to flick back forwards and you can't always get it the one you want, so you do tend to sort of flick backwards and forwards a number of times before you finally get there. It's got the voice control system as well, so you can press that and call out whatever you want. The telephone's on that side as well. On the right here, well, we have autonomous braking in town. We have a lane departure warning system. Sorry, I had to look down there. Not a good thing when you're driving. Speed limiter, and obviously the cruise control, which is all very, very easy to use. It's very simple. I love the big mirrors on this car as well. You can see out sideways front, but as with the previous Evoque, you've got that tiny little window in the back, and unless you have that rear view mirror turning into a camera, it's not the best view in the world. And parking is horrendous, especially if you're trying to reverse over and you're looking over your shoulder. As much as I love the camera aids and I love the auto park, I still like to park my car. That's what we were taught to do. And I trust the car to park itself. That's fine, and it will do that. It's got that facility if you want it. But at the end of the day, I like to see where I'm going, and I find it very difficult because of the high back, the sort of shoulders on this car, as I call it. I find that very difficult to see, and that does give you a massive blind spot there. Fuel economy wise, well, we mentioned that earlier when I was talking. It's still not gone up much. We're still under 30, which in a car like this I'd expect at least 35 to 40, so not quite getting there. Listen, you take this for a test drive, you evaluate it. I've given my opinion. Please don't hold it against me, especially the first part of this last section. But that's how I honestly feel, and I'm not trying to be rude, and I'm not trying to create controversy. That's just the way I feel, and I like to say what I feel, and I think that's how everybody should be, within reason. Obviously don't want to be rude. You've been watching me, AJ the Player. I'd really love it if you'd thumbs up, subscribe and comment, and I love your comments. I was bound to get thousands now because of what I just said, but yeah, go for it, guys. If you want, give me a few comments. I need pointers, I need tips, and if you think I'm doing a great job, thumbs up. That's all it takes. I'll catch you next week with another car, and hopefully I won't dig such a bigger grave as I already dug for myself today. Take care, guys. Catch you next week.